Welcome to an architect's view of Code Refresh, brought to you by Richmond Civic League. If you did not see part 1 of this video, you can use this QR code or find it on richmondcivicleague.com where it is listed under videos. Before part 2 begins, and for some context, the introduction to the part 1 video is included in the next few slides. We'll move quickly through these. Next, the mayor and city administration are promoting Code Refresh, a complete rewrite of the city zoning ordinance. The rewrite was guided by the ZAC, a zoning advisory council made up of mostly builders and developers. This new Code Refresh requires a majority vote of the city council in order to be adopted. Next, the master plan says rewrite zoning in the highlighted areas for new growth and to maintain existing neighborhoods. Code Refresh rewrites zoning everywhere for new growth and development, by right, changing every neighborhood. If the master plan says one thing, why does the zoning ordinance do something different? This is one key fallacy of Code Refresh. Now let's begin part 2 of our presentation. Next, in Virginia, the purpose of zoning is to promote the public health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the citizens. Plan for future development with adequate facilities. Recognize the need for the growth. These are high-trust conditions to build trust in the community. Next, Virginia zoning law says you must consider these impacts for rezoning: utilities, water and sewer, roads and transportation, schools, public safety, police, fire, EMS, and parks. Next, for example, in a rezoning case study in Chesterfield, a developer wants to rezone for Harper's Mill, a new single-family, multifamily, commercial, and mixed uses to include a total of 2,392 dwellings. Next, Chesterfield determines that the development impact on the county is $7,868 for each house and more than $18 million for the development. Yes, the developer will pay for this as the project is built out. Yet in Richmond, unbelievably, the developer pays nothing. You might ask why? Next, Code Refresh rezoning is much different. There is no mention of impact, much less any fees. Why 50,000 new houses and apartments and no impact on the city and no fees? This is rezoning for the entire city, not just the limited areas called for in the master plan. It includes changing all neighborhoods when the master plan says to maintain the existing neighborhoods. 50,000 new houses and apartments will have tremendous impact on our city. Next, FOIA stands for the Freedom of Information Act. You can use it to look for government documents and records. FOIA was used to ask city departments what the impacts would be. The Code Refresh draft ordinance had already been written, so you might assume impacts were considered. The council, after much discussion, had just voted on a budget. You might assume they asked or talked about the cost of impacts. Scott Morris, the Public Utilities Director, replies to FOIA saying there is no impact on water or sewer with 50,000 new dwellings. Is this a high-trust reply? If there is no impact, why is $1.3 billion needed to fix waterworks and $533 million is needed for wastewater treatment? That is what the city told the General Assembly in 2026. Next, the FOIA reply from Richmond Public Schools. The records you request do not exist. When you get 50,000 new houses with bedrooms, you are likely to get some babies, and soon they will be going to school. Richmond Public Schools likely takes the biggest bite out of the budget, but there is no impact consideration here. Next, Andy Bonow, Director, Richmond Department of Transportation. No reply to the FOIA request. Next, from Melika Burt of Richmond Police Department, Legal Affairs, the reply is, please define Code Refresh so our team can research your request. Maybe Richmond Police Department was never asked. Next, reply from the Richmond Fire Department, Trina King says, the fire department has not been involved. Next, the reply from the Richmond Ambulance Authority and EMS. RAA does not have any data or specifics on the impact of Code Refresh. Nobody asked. Next, the reply from the Richmond Public Library. We have not prepared or participated in any reports or research on Code Refresh. Next, the City of Richmond Parks and Rec Information Manager Tamara Jenkins replies, Park and Rec is not in possession of any records responsive to your request. Next, remember Virginia law says rezoning has to consider impacts. Next, again, Chesterfield says rezoning for Harper's Mill gives new development rights with rezoning for 2,392 houses. This has an impact of $7,868 each house. The developer pays $18,824,256 to cover the cost of the impacts. Next, the mayor and the head of city planning say that code refresh will rezone the whole city with new development rights for 50,000 houses, and there is no impact. Is this a high trust answer? Next, recently the mayor has said that developers may pay some costs, but 1. The impact is not known. 2. The cost is not known. And 3. Why would developers agree to pay after they have already been given free property and building rights from code refresh? Won't that be too late? Next, Virginia law is written so that rezoning is done in a high-trust way that serves the interests of the community. The process of rezoning with code refresh is looking like a low-trust operation. Is it because developers have controlled this process and they have been allowed to place their interests over ours? Many citizens feel we should follow the money and find the answer. Next, your city council representative will apparently vote on code refresh without knowing. What are the impacts? What is the cost? How will the developers pay for their code refresh development rights? Nobody knows because nobody asked. And last, brought to you in the public interest by Richmond Civic League. Working together, we will make a difference.